The rain began as a whisper, soft, steady, and patient. It tapped gently against the windows of Alara's little cottage, a rhythmic lullaby the night had composed just for her. Outside, the forest breathed, slow, deep, and damp with the perfume of earth and pine. Inside, a single candle flickered on the bedside table, casting waves of gold across the pages of an open journal. Alara closed her eyes for a moment and listened. She could hear the rain threading through the leaves, 1,000 tiny rivers flowing down the night. Each drop seemed to erase something, a worry, a memory, a name. She exhaled, long and quiet, as if releasing everything the day had asked her to hold. Her cat, Loon, stirred on the blanket near her feet, curling into a tighter ball. The clock on the wall ticked softly, a heartbeat she had learned to live beside. In that moment, she felt the familiar ache of solitude. It wasn't sadness exactly, but something gentler, the awareness of space, of time, of being alive in the hush between raindrops. The world had been too loud lately. Too bright. Work, messages, the endless hum of things demanding to be done. But here, in the glow of the candlelight, she felt the hush return, a quiet she hadn't known she missed until it arrived again like an old friend at her door. She rose and walked to the window. The glass was cool beneath her fingertips. Beyond it, the night was alive, mist curling through the trees, the moon's silver halo slipping between clouds. Somewhere deep in the forest, an owl called. Its cry echoed softly, folding into the rhythm of the rain. For the first time in weeks, Alara smiled. She pulled a shawl around her shoulders and opened the window a little. The air drifted in, cool and wet, carrying the smell of rain-soaked moss and jasmine. She closed her eyes again and breathed deeply, the scent filling her lungs like music. Each breath felt like an invitation, to let go, to drift, to simply be. In her journal, she wrote a single sentence. "Tonight, I remember how to be still." The ink shimmered faintly before sinking into the paper. She thought about how much of her life had been spent chasing success, love, meaning, as if everything beautiful lived in the next moment, not this one. But tonight, in the quiet arms of the storm, she realized that peace didn't live in the future. It was right here, in the breath between words, in the sound of rain brushing the earth. She poured herself a cup of chamomile tea, the steam curling into little ghosts above the rim. The warmth settled into her palms, grounding her. Loon lifted her head, blinked lazily, and then patted over to nudge her ankle. Alara laughed softly, scratching the cat's ears. "Even you know it's time to rest," she whispered. The wind brushed through the trees again, and the cottage seemed to sigh. The candle flame danced, and the shadows shifted gently across the walls, like slow waves rolling across sand. Alara sat back in her chair, tea in hand, and watched the light play its silent game. The sound of the rain deepened, no longer just weather but a melody, a story the earth was telling itself. Her eyelids grew heavy. Her thoughts softened, melting into shapes that didn't need words, memories of summer mornings, laughter under trees, her mother's voice humming her to sleep. The scent of rain and the sound of it became one, a blanket woven from water and light. As her head tilted slightly to one side, she whispered to no one in particular. "Maybe I don't need to fix anything tonight. Maybe I can just rest." And the night seemed to answer, a quiet hush, a warm silence, a promise that tomorrow could wait. Outside, the rain began to slow. The forest exhaled. The moon emerged from behind its cloud, soft and full, brushing its silver light over the garden beyond her window. Tiny drops of rain clung to the petals of sleeping flowers, each one holding a glimmer of moonlight like a secret. Alara drifted deeper into her chair, the world fading gently into dreams. She didn't remember falling asleep, only that when she opened her eyes again, the rain had stopped. The candle was still burning, low and golden. The air felt different, lighter, scented with something sweet and green. Alara blinked slowly, unsure if she was still dreaming. The window she had left half open now shimmered with mist, and through it, she could see something impossible. The garden was glowing. Every leaf, every blade of grass was dusted with light, not moonlight, not quite, but something alive, like the air itself had learned to shine. Fireflies floated lazily through the trees, their wings flickering in time with the heartbeat of the night. The path that led from her door into the woods glowed faintly, as though inviting her to follow. Alara stood, barefoot, her shawl slipping from her shoulders. The floorboards creaked softly under her feet. When she stepped outside, the ground was cool and damp, and the scent of the world was new: rain, soil, night-blooming flowers. She felt small but safe, as if the earth had opened its arms to hold her. She walked toward the garden gate. The hinges didn't creak tonight, they sighed open like something long asleep had just woken up. Beyond the gate, the path was lined with luminous white petals, glowing like stars that had fallen into the grass. The air shimmered faintly, and the forest whispered her name. Alara. The voice wasn't frightening. It was familiar, soft, warm, like her grandmother's lullabies. She followed it deeper into the garden. As she walked, the world around her pulsed with color: deep blues, silvers, and gentle greens. The flowers turned toward her, blooming wider as she passed, their petals opening to the rhythm of her breath. A small stream wound through the trees, glowing from within, its water humming softly, a lullaby sung by the earth itself. Alara knelt beside it and touched the surface. It was warm, impossibly warm. And when she looked into it, she saw not her reflection, but memories: laughter by candlelight, the faces of people she had loved, moments she had forgotten. Each ripple carried a piece of her story, and with every heartbeat, she felt lighter, freer. Tears slipped down her cheeks, though she wasn't sad. They were tears of release, of gratitude, of remembering what it felt like to belong to something bigger than herself. The garden seemed to lean closer, the flowers whispering softly as if they too were breathing with her. Then, from the center of the clearing, she saw it, a great tree, ancient and radiant. Its trunk was silver gray, its leaves like tiny mirrors reflecting the starlight above. Roots as thick as her arms curled through the earth, glowing with a steady, golden pulse. The air around it shimmered, alive with quiet power. She approached slowly, heart calm, not racing. When she placed her hand on the bark, the warmth spread instantly through her skin, up her arm, into her chest, into her heart. It wasn't magic, not in the fairy tale sense. It was memory, the deep remembering of being alive, of being part of everything. The heartbeat of the tree matched her own, slow and peaceful. In that moment, she understood something without words. The garden wasn't a dream. It was a place she had always carried within her, the space of peace that lives inside every person, waiting for them to be quiet enough to hear it. The light deepened, wrapping around her like a blanket. The forest hummed, the tree glowed, and the air filled with the low, comforting sound of distant thunder rolling over the hills. And then, a whisper, the same voice as before. You can always return here. Just close your eyes, and remember how to be still. Alara smiled. She leaned against the tree, resting her head on its trunk. The warmth held her, gentle and sure. The night sky above began to soften, stars dimming, dawn rising faintly at the horizon. The colors shifted, blue melting into silver, silver into gold. She closed her eyes. The hum of the forest became the sound of her own breath. When she opened them again, she was back in her chair, the first pale light of morning stretching across the floor. The rain had stopped completely. Outside, the garden was ordinary again. Wet leaves, silent flowers, no glowing light. And yet, Alara knew it hadn't been a dream. The calm inside her was too deep, too real. Loon stirred awake, leapt into her lap, and purred softly. Alara ran her hand through the cat's fur, her heart steady and light. She looked at the window, smiled, and whispered, "I'll remember." The world was quiet again, not empty, but full. Full of peace, full of morning, full of everything she needed. And as she rose to greet the day, the echo of the garden stayed with her. A reminder that somewhere within the stillness of her breath, a night garden always bloomed.